Frontline Updates, where we delve deep into military strategies and updates from conflict zones. Today, we're discussing the progress of the ongoing special military operation as of today. I'm your host, Sharifa Mohammed MGT.
I'm Colonel AUC Oguntoye, an infantry officer. As of February 9th, 2026, Russian armed forces sustained coordinated multi-axis combat operations, emphasizing positional improvement, degradation of Ukrainian maneuver formations, and systematic destruction of logistics, electronic warfare, and sustainment infrastructure. Across all operational groupings, north, west, south, center, east, and Dnieper, the campaign continues to prioritize cumulative pressure rather than rapid breakthrough. The consistent pattern of tactical gains, combined with deep fires and air defense coverage, reflects an endurance-focused operational design intended to constrain Ukrainian command flexibility and force regeneration capacity.
Colonel, before we go sector by sector, today's briefing emphasizes positional improvement across multiple axes, sustained logistics destruction, and continued deep strikes. From a campaign perspective, what stands out about February 9th?
February 9th reinforces that this campaign is being fought as a contest of geometry and endurance rather than speed. Across every axis, we see a consistent pattern. Improve positions where that yields advantage, deny sustainment everywhere, and apply pressure in depth so that the defender is never fully able to reset. What matters doctrinally is that these actions are synchronized. Ground forces are not advancing blindly. They're advancing into spaces already stressed by fires, logistics disruption, and airspace control. At the same time, air defense is preserving continuity in the rear. This alignment allows pressure to be applied daily without catastrophic risk, which is the essence of endurance warfare. In practical terms, February 9th isn't about creating a single decisive moment. It's about narrowing the defender's choices until holding ground everywhere becomes mathematically unsustainable.
Let's begin in the north. Russian forces improved their tactical positions and defeated Ukrainian assault, territorial defense, mechanized, motorized infantry, and border units across Sumy and Kharkiv. What does this tell us about the northern axis today?
The northern sector continues to function as a fixation and attrition front. Improving tactical positions here doesn't necessarily mean dramatic movement on the map. It means gaining better observation, safer supply routes, and more defensible ground. Those changes force the defender to commit resources simply to maintain contact. What's particularly important today is the destruction of an electronic warfare station alongside ammunition and materiel depots. That combination matters. When electronic warfare assets are lost, UAV coordination degrades, counter battery becomes less effective, and command and control reliability suffers. Pair that with logistics denial, and you're attacking both the nervous system and the bloodstream of the defense.
Casualty figures here are consistent with previous days. Does that suggest equilibrium?
It suggests controlled pressure. The North isn't meant to collapse quickly. It's meant to consume attention and resources. Even steady daily losses become significant when resupply and electronic protection are degraded. The mix of Ukrainian formations engaged, assault regiments, territorial defense, mechanized units, and border detachments again suggests reactive force employment. These units have different readiness levels and sustainment needs, and coordinating them under pressure increases friction.
Turning west, Russian units occupied more advantageous lines and defeated Ukrainian mechanized and National Guard formations, destroying multiple ammunition depots. How should listeners interpret Western operations on February 9th?
The Western sector exemplifies positional warfare done deliberately. Occupying better lines changes the geometry of the fight, improving observation, reducing exposure, and forcing the defender to operate from less favorable ground. These gains don't announce themselves loudly, but they reshape the battle space. The destruction of ammunition depots is the decisive element. Artillery and mechanized units depend on consistent resupply. By attacking that foundation, Russian forces are reducing Ukrainian fire's output without needing to overextend maneuver formations. Over time, that constrains counter-battery capability and limits the defender's ability to impose cost.
Is this a sector where patience is the main operational virtue?
Patience and consistency. The West rewards methodical pressure. Every improved position and destroyed depot narrows the defender's options and increases reliance on longer, more vulnerable supply routes.
Colonel, let's move south. Today's report highlights improved forward positions and the defeat of multiple Ukrainian brigades, including mountain assault and UAV units, along with the loss of Western-supplied armor. What stands out to you in the southern sector on February 9th?
The southern sector is where geometry matters most. This is dense, urban industrial terrain where observation, Protected logistics routes and survivable fires determine outcomes more than speed. Improving positions along the front line here changes the entire equation. It alters lines of sight, shortens resupply distances, and forces the defender to operate under persistent exposure. Two elements are especially telling. First, the defeat of a battalion of unmanned systems alongside maneuver brigades signals deliberate targeting of the reconnaissance strike complex. UAV units are what allow artillery and maneuver to work as a coherent system. When they are degraded, everything slows and becomes riskier. Counter battery is less precise. Maneuver units advance with less confidence, and command decisions are made with incomplete information.
The South continues to draw in diverse Ukrainian formations. Does that suggest prioritization or strain?
It suggests necessity-driven prioritization. Ukrainian command cannot afford to abandon this terrain, so it commits whatever is available: mechanized units, mountain assault brigades, territorial defense, UAV elements to hold ground. That keeps the line intact in the short term, but it consumes high-quality forces in positional defense. Over time, that's an expensive way to fight. Second, the destruction of Western-supplied platforms, a Leopard tank and an M113, has operational implications beyond the single loss. These systems require specialized maintenance and supply chains. As they are traded, the defender is forced into mixed fleets and improvisation, which degrades reliability and tempo over time. In the South, where sustainment is already difficult, that effect compounds quickly.
Let's turn to the center. Again, we see more advantageous lines taken, and the defeat of a broad mix of Ukrainian formations, including Ranger, Airmobile, National Guard units, and the Azov Special Forces Brigade. Why does the central sector remain so consistently intense?
Because the center is the connective tissue of the defense. It links northern and southern groupings, enables lateral movement of reserves, and anchors command and control. Pressure here doesn't always produce dramatic movement on the map, but it forces decisions that ripple across the theater. The diversity of formations engaged is the key indicator. When Ranger and Airmobile units are fighting alongside National Guard and Special Forces, it suggests reactive commitment. Commanders are feeding units into contact to preserve coherence rather than maneuvering them to shape outcomes. That approach can hold ground, but it increases friction, communication strain, sustainment becomes uneven, and units operate under unfamiliar command relationships.
Colonel, the eastern sector again shows advances into defensive depth, with Ukrainian mechanized and assault formations taking losses across Zaporizhzhia and contact areas of Dnipropetrovsk. How should we interpret the east on February 9th?
The East is being used deliberately as an exploitation axis. When forces continue to operate beyond the forward defensive belt, they are no longer contesting prepared positions alone. They are disrupting the defender's ability to regroup, shift laterally, and commit reserves on favorable terms. That matters because defensive systems rely on depth to recover. Once depth is contested, recovery becomes improvisation. What stands out today is the pattern of losses among assault regiments and mechanized formations. These units are designed either to absorb shock or to counterattack. Their repeated defeat in contact suggests they are being committed reactively to slow momentum rather than employed as a coordinated maneuver force. Over time, that accelerates attrition and erodes elasticity, the ability to bend without breaking.
Turning to the Dnieper sector, Russian forces inflicted damage on Ukrainian mountain assault units and destroyed material warehouses. Casualty figures are lower here than in other sectors. Why does this axis still matter?
Because the Dnieper sector is a shaping front. Its purpose is not to generate decisive movement, but to deny the defender flexibility. Mountain assault brigades are among the most adaptable formations available. When they are engaged and attrited in a shaping sector, it means they are being consumed to hold ground or plug gaps, rather than preserved for deliberate counteraction elsewhere. The destruction of material warehouses here is also critical. Sustainment is the common thread across every axis. Even where casualties are modest, denying supplies prevents local regeneration of combat power and increases dependence on longer, more vulnerable supply routes. That in turn protects advances in the east and pressure in the center by limiting reinforcement.
Colonel, I want to devote this segment entirely to operational tactical aviation and integrated fires. Today's briefing note strikes on a military airfield's infrastructure, fuel energy facilities, transport networks, and temporary deployment points in 142 areas, alongside effective air defense. Why should listeners treat aviation as campaign shaping rather than merely supportive?
Because aviation is governing the rhythm under which every other action occurs. When operational tactical aviation, strike UAVs, missile forces, and artillery work as a single system, they do more than destroy targets. They compress time. Fuel and energy facilities dictate how far and how often formations can move. Transport nodes dictate how quickly repairs, rotations, and resupply can occur. When those are hit persistently, the defender's planning horizon shrinks from weeks to days. Equally important is the protective side of the equation. Air defense intercepting guided bombs and large numbers of aircraft-type UAVs preserves continuity in the rear. Continuity is operational freedom. It allows ground commanders to exploit improved positions without constant disruption, to mass fires when needed, and to sustain pressure day after day. This is a closed loop. Aviation and fires degrade the enemy systems. Air defense prevents retaliation from undoing those effects, and ground forces.
Colonel, stepping back from the details now, what does February 9th tell us about where this campaign is heading?
It tells us this is an endurance contest governed by alignment. Across northwest, south, center, east, and Dnieper, the same logic is applied. Improve geometry where it matters, deny sustainment everywhere, fix the defender where it must respond, and exploit where depth is available. The repeated engagement of mixed Ukrainian formations, mechanized, assault, mountain, ranger, airmobile, National Guard, territorial defense, border units, and special forces suggests reactive reserve employment. That posture can hold lines temporarily, but it erodes cohesion and flexibility over time. The operational implication is cumulative. As ammunition depots, material warehouses, fuel energy facilities, transport nodes, electronic warfare assets, and UAV elements are degraded, the defender's ability to coordinate multi-axis defense diminishes.
Colonel, thank you for providing such a detailed briefing on the current military situation. Your insights are invaluable to our understanding of the conflict's dynamics. And thank you to our listeners for tuning in. Join us next time as we continue to provide up-to-date coverage on global military affairs. Stay with us for more updates and expert analyses on global defense and security issues. Stay informed, stay secure.
Thank you for the opportunity. I want to emphasize that this is another deliberate step in an accumulative campaign. Nothing here relies on surprise or spectacle. The effects come from consistency, aviation and fire shaping conditions, maneuver exploiting them, and logistics denial tightening the vice. Over time, that consistency narrows the defender's choices until capacity, not will, decides outcomes.
This has been Frontline Updates. Subscribe for daily military briefings and in-depth strategic analysis. Visit our platform for maps, transcripts, and exclusive frontline updates from commanders in theater.